All right, what's up, YouTube family? This is Grown B. I got my boy X Flow Sensei with me. This is my fighting game training partner. Whatever fighting game is out, like me and this guy are just straight boxing.
Gotta go
Uh,
at it.
we have placed so many hours into just going at it with one another, and so I wanted to take the opportunity since Sparking Zero has been out, coming up on 1 week. I've seen a bunch of content. I've seen a bunch of videos with takes and all different things that people are thinking about this game, and I think something finally occurred to me about how there's really two different types of fighting game players. And one of those fighting game players are people who really love fighting games. And the other fighting game player are people who just want to beat other people up. Right. And I think those are really two completely different approaches to fighting games. And so I kind of have a couple of my takes on that, but I'm going to pass it over to you, X, for you to kind of talk a little bit about yourself and then jump straight into the topic.
Let's see. X. I love fighting games. I love games in general. Love anime. Big anime enthusiast. Um, work on music. I make beats. Still quite haven't figured out exactly what I want to do with that. I'm just really focusing on my craft, honestly, just getting better. It's pretty
Cool.
short, but I mean, yeah, short, sweet, straight to the point. Me and B
Great.
have been, man, how long have we been fighting for, honestly?
We first started fighting.
Xenoverse, right?
No, no. I think Injustice 2.
I vaguely remember playing Xenoverse with you because Dragon Ball was one of the first conversations we had at the job, and then
It
Xenoverse had came out.
it was, but I don't think we had fully gotten into
Oh yeah, 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 into like
like
what we got
our
now. But
friendship didn't really get into the fighting game aspect until
Injustice 2 for sure.
Injustice 2 because I remember we had a we had a event or something at Best Buy. And I remember
Hmm.
in Magnolia, we had a PlayStation set up, and that was when we first started fighting. Yeah, and then we started going over to Goof and Them's and fighting in Tekken. So
Oh
that was
yeah,
when
we
we
were over there
first
for
started kind of like
heavy.
fighting for real. I think our first gaming experience though together was like Call of Duty or something. Like we started playing first person shooters. Like we didn't really transition to like our fighting game rivalries until Injustice 2. I was rolling Batman. I think you were rolling
Red Hood.
Red Hood. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those are some crazy fights, bro. I mean, crazy.
Man.
Did we ever figure out what happened to that Batarang?
No, no, no. I don't even know why you bringing that up. I still got that clip up on my channel, man. But I think I think what we're talking about now and just kind of the excitement along with that is really the difference, right? Between what I think like is fighting game, like people who really love and people who enjoy fighting games versus people who just want to beat people up. Because for me, right, when I think about our fights, when I think about like even now, dude, I'm just so excited for that first time me and you go at it on Sparking. For those of y'all who don't know, unfortunately, since this is in crossplay, I'm on PS5, X is playing on PC, and like this is our first time where a game like this has been out and we have not been able to fight each other. And I'm just sitting here like, I even feel like
Twiddling our
I
thumbs and
I
stuff,
even
just
feel like
like
I'm a little bit shackled in a sense because I feel like all of my biggest moments, all of my biggest leaps, right, are always when me and you are going at it. That is when I really feel like I start to kind of become unlocked as a fighting game player. So that type of stuff excites me. But what I've been seeing is like people getting online and I think we talked about it earlier, right? This guy is showing his I think he was streaming and he was going into some ranked matches and he ends up getting matched up with Afro Senju and he's just terrified, like, oh no, I'm gonna lose, this is gonna be crazy. And like he goes out and obviously he does get beat up. But it's like for me in that same situation, I'm hype.
Yeah, extremely
Like
hype.
even when I get matched up with people who are just a few ranks higher than me in any type of game, I'm excited about that experience. I'm excited about like being able to challenge myself on a level that is like totally different, like something that like I don't necessarily expect, right?
Hmm.
I want people to be able to like push me to different levels,
Yeah,
right?
straight up, bro. It's
Um,
a crazy feeling too. Like it's like it's like a competitive spirit type of thing. You know what I'm saying? You can get pushed to a point to where you kind of, like you said, you feel shackled right now just because you and I aren't playing because you and I, we push each other. We're so used to the way that we fight because we play each other so much on so many different games. So we kind of let that translate over and stuff. But at the same time, it's like the mind games and then you'll do something a little bit different, whether it be like a different mix up and stuff like that. It's like always challenging each other. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that there's some people who aren't cool with being uncomfortable in certain situations.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like when it comes to video games, it's like people don't like that feeling an uncomfortability and it gives them some type of anxiety, almost like they can't deal with it.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I think ultimately what it comes down to is the fact that, like, again, there's two different types. There's two different types of players. Players that really love fighting games and players that just want to beat people up. The players that just want to beat people up cannot get any gratitude out of losing.
Yeah,
Like they can't take that, oh, if I lost in this way, there's so much that I have to learn in this particular game. There's so much that I have an opportunity to learn in this fight. There's so much that I'm can basically take over to the next fight in my next battle with somebody else or my next battle with this person. And so they contextualize everything around, oh, can I beat up people and look cool or can I win? Right? And so eventually, even though some of those players are good players, eventually even they find themselves in a spot where it's like, okay, now because of the way games are made now, when it comes to skill-based matchmaking, when it comes to all this other different stuff, eventually you find yourself in spaces where everybody's pretty good. And now
yeah,
that everybody's pretty good, you're not just beating people up anymore. And since you're not just beating people up anymore, the gratification that they were formerly getting from fighting games, right, is kind of going away. So this is like somebody commented on one of my videos the other day and was saying, "Oh, this game is going to be dead on PC within a few weeks." And I'm like, "Well, that may be true for people who don't actually like fighting games and people who like just beating people up because when you get out of that threshold where you can just whoop everybody, right? Then those people don't have anything they can gain from playing fighting games anymore. It's not exciting for them anymore. Like
not
for
at
me, it's
all.
always exciting to play like the next best person or like um figure out something new or just all of that stuff. And I think that that is really kind of the biggest difference between like people who are looking at this game and saying, "Wow, it's so difficult," and kind of being like turned off and um just worried about like what this skill ceiling is going to look like. And I'm like, nah, that's the exciting part of it, you
The
know?
very exciting part about it. And the fact that, we've been waiting on Sparking Zero, what, 14, 15 years? We've been waiting. We've been all dying and begging for this, for
Yeah.
this, excuse me. So, I think that that skill threshold could potentially be a main component and like the drop off rates in games. People will hit that certain threshold, they'll struggle, they'll continue to struggle, and then they start to have a negative experience, like a negative mindset whenever it comes to a particular game. And that's like, oh, I don't play that game anymore because X, Y, Z. And it's just all complaints. All things that
Hmm.
they could power through and they could, overcome. But some people, I don't know, it's like an acquired skill that some people just do not have. I don't find any pleasure in beating people who are ranks below me. But these people who want to just beat people up, they'll sit there in the lobby and beat that person up over and over and over and over and over again because it's easy, and it's
Hmm.
easy, pads their stats or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, man, you can have a 75% win rate with 100 matches, but you haven't actually moved up to see what the higher ranked people are actually doing, like where the advanced techniques come into play, like where you have to sit in the lab for hours and hours and hours and really figure some stuff out. Some people don't want to do that. They want to just get on, push buttons, learn a couple combos, and then that's it.
And that's another thing too. I made a video talking about how I feel like this game is going to be a whole lot more intuitive than just like going on to YouTube and looking up combo tutorials or somebody telling you the higher tier characters and which ones you should be using and people telling you like all these different things. I think this game is going to be a whole lot more intuitive than that. Right. And it's not to say that you're not going to be able to study, because I feel like you're always going to be able to jump online, watch some other fighters, and be able to study. Like that's a part of just learning the craft. But I feel like this is going to be a lot different in the sense that like you're just going to have to the difference between you playing well is not going to be you studying YouTube videos. It's going to be you fighting.
Yeah, getting that experience.
And I don't think, and this even goes back to Tekken, and I think FDX said this in a video. At the end of the day, right, you're not going to get better unless you jump into ranked and face the fears of losing all your prestige and losing your ranks and instead of putting so much stock in trying to get to blue rank or trying to get to red rank or trying to get to Tekken God or whatever, right? Instead of putting so much stock into that, where you're sitting next to your router waiting to unplug your Ethernet cable anytime you lose, just so that you don't lose your rank, like instead of focusing on that, say like, and don't get me wrong, I've never felt like ranked is a good environment to get better at a fighting game anyway, right? I've never
Right.
felt like that anyway. But if your mentality is like my rank comes before everything, I think you can. I'm not saying that you can't get better, but I think that just puts a ceiling on how good you can really be, right? And so the mentality of people who just want to, and I would throw the same thing as like the type of fighting game player that just wants to beat people up or just wants to look like they're always beating people up for their YouTube channels or their streams or whatever. I think that's what it falls into. And I think people, I think the, I think you can enjoy beating people up and actually like fighting games, but I think there's a lot of people who just get stuck in that idea of I like looking good with my combos. I like winning. I like doing certain things. Like there's certain types of things where like somebody will maybe spam a certain move, but it's kind of like in an educational way. It's like, okay, I've done this a few times. Now I'm going to show you like why I was doing this and what I'm setting up by doing this. But then there's other people who are just like using it as a cheesy move to make sure they get their wins up and get their
Hmm.
rank up. And again, when they start running into people that understand the ways around that, right? They don't then go back into the lab and figure out how to get better. They go get on GTA 6, right?
Right,
Like, you
right.
know, and
Or,
so
or move on to the next match and do the same exact thing, hoping that this person doesn't pick up on it. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
doesn't work like that.
And I think a lot of people will disagree. I think a lot of people will disagree with me, but I think the culture of one and dones is very much in favor of this idea that like I want to save my rank. If I feel like this person can beat me, I don't want to go up against them. If I feel like my if I feel like my ego is in jeopardy, I'm not gonna rematch that person again, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen so many excuses and discussions on Facebook groups and all that about like why people are almost like have a phobia of running it back. And it's always like, mm, I'm not feeling that. You just look like you scared to run it back, And so I am excited. that people are enjoying Sparking Zero.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
it's hard to really understand sometimes that we probably have really two generations, not one, two generations that never played these games before. They never played them before. Like one guy commented on it was like it was a very basic video of blocking low and blocking high to basically not get hit by powered up low sweeps and
Hmm.
overhead guard breaks. And somebody was like, "Wow, this game is in depth." And everybody's commenting under the post. I was like, "Dude, these are the Tenkachis. Like
Hmm.
these are the Tenkachis. Why are you like?" But he's like, "Dude, this game came out 15 years ago. I was a kid. I didn't know about this stuff." And I'm sitting here like, why do y'all think we were so hyped for the return of this series? This is why we were so hyped for the return of this series. When people were saying this is the greatest fighting game, Dragon Ball fighting game, like it's not nostalgia. Like it's because we remember all this stuff,
Yep.
right? And so I'm just excited that people are getting to enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, me as well, bro. I'm like I said, I just beat Grade 8 Vegeta. Been having a blast so far. I'm absolutely loving it. Haven't fought anybody online yet, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the feedback that it's getting. The only thing that I have a problem with is IGN.
Mm.
They gave it a 7.
Oh, really?
I don't, and I really disagree with that because Concord also got a 7 and Concord got canceled. Like that game's gone. You know
Wow.
what I'm saying? So it's like I don't know about that
I
standpoint.
think in
Great.
general, it's kind of like what we were talking about before when we were talking about like game of the year and whatnot. Um, I think it's really hard for fighting games unless you just really like fighting games, or unless whoever's doing the reviews really likes fighting games. It's really hard for them to score because a lot of people don't understand the appeal. They're it's not to say that there's not a casual space for fighting games, but it's the things that that make the fighting games closer to nines and tens are often not as accessible to people who only play casual or people who are only playing it because it's their job and they have to release their review for the game in 2 days when the game comes out.
Right.
Um, but to be honest, I haven't heard the trolls aren't even out when it comes to this game.
Yeah, no, not at
If the
all.
trolls aren't even out when it comes to this game, like that's a shoe-in that this is a banger, right? I
Absolutely.
haven't the only people that I've seen it's been bait and switch type stuff. Like, oh, the worst thing about Sparking Zero is it took 15 years to come out. This game was the
Yeah, yeah,
greatest.
yeah.
Like nobody's even like pulling your leg to try to make sure like to make it seem like this game is BS. Like, so I mean, IGN, they're just kind of, people have always
Yeah.
had a problem with their like reviews and stuff. So
Hmm.
I'm not too much tripping on that, but I am loving that it it looks like people are still going to be able to have fun. It's still about going out and having the Dragon Ball experience. One of the things that I've always said is that like I feel like this game has always just been about capturing that Dragon Ball experience. And I think it does that really, really, really well. And and I think that even the casual players are going to be able to have the type of experience they want, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think this is going to be one of those games where it's not all about rank, right? I think we're going to see a lot of team battles. I think we're going to just see a lot of regular casual 1v1 fun time battles. I think people are going to kind of start setting up interesting just fights that are just going to be fun to see. And again, like I feel like this game has really locked me into understanding that like there's people that really just like to play fighting games. They like the chess matches, they like the mind games, they like going in the lab, they like going up against that next person that they feel like, oh, this is my opportunity to get pushed to the next level. Like they love all of that. And then there's the people that just want to beat people up, right?
Yeah.
And there's only so far you can get with a game as far as satisfaction and gratitude when the only thing you're pulling from it is beating people up, right? And so
Mm.
but I'm excited for what's next, man. I'm excited for this to kind of be the thing that really kind of jolts my YouTube channel because I've always wanted my YouTube channel to remain like a fighting game hub for me. But I have not really been too locked in to a fighting game lately, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's been maybe since Injustice 2 slash Mortal Kombat, not Mortal Kombat 1, but the Mortal Kombat before that.
Hmm.
That really like had me into like fighting game content. Um, and when we talk about just my content in general, it's like Kingdom Hearts revived my TikTok gaming stuff, got my followers up on there. Like it would be so suitable for my second favorite game of all time to kind of really boost my YouTube channel up. So I'm just excited about this all together. I'm excited for our matches when we finally start going at it. Like I'm still in a bit of shock that I'm playing this game right now because about 10 years ago, I gave up on them releasing it. Once they released Xenoverse, and Xenoverse wasn't Tenkaichi, right? And
Yeah.
then they released Xenoverse 2, and it wasn't Tenkaichi. I was like, I don't think they're gonna make it. That's when I stopped Googling it. That's when I stopped looking up YouTube videos. That's when I stopped searching. Like it was right around then that I was like, okay, um, I think I can go ahead and accept that this is it. And then they did that freaking trailer, man, on that little box TV, bro. They dropped that trailer at that fighters event, bro. And
I
I
could
was
not
like,
believe they did
wow.
that, bro. That
I
was
was
so
like,
crazy.
wow.
That was
And
mind
to be
blowing.
honest, that's the reason why that's so perfect is because Fighters was so good. I think that's really what it is. At the end of the day, Fighters was so good, and they knew we can't we can't put out Fighters content forever, right?
Hmm.
So where do we go as far as a Dragon Ball game? And they were like,
Gotta give the
we
people what they
gotta bring
want.
back the GOAT.
We gotta give people what they want.
We
It's
have like
time.
and honestly, we may have to do a separate video on that because that's really honestly what I think it is. Fighters was so good that they didn't have any direction to go other than to come back and get and bring Tenkaichi. Like that was
Yeah.
it, right? And so much love, much respect. Shout out to Fighters because I feel like without the success of Fighters, they probably wouldn't have spun the block on Tenkaichi 3.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. It was like they capitalized off the moment, off the momentum of fighters, and it's like, okay, we gotta hit them again. We gotta hit them again. We're already in the closing phase of fighters. They're already speculating and theorizing fighters 2 is gonna come out. No, nah, we're gonna take it back. We're gonna spin the block one
Yep.
time for the one time.
Mm-hmm.
What a
Mm-hmm.
time! What a time, man.
Absolutely. Well, let's see. Any other final thoughts as it comes to Sparking Zero, what you've played so far, what your experience has been?
I'm just ready to play some more.
Dude,
I'm just I'm just ready to play some
I'm just
more,
ready to play some
honestly.
more too. It's like, oh, it's tough because I want to make content, and there are times where it's just like I don't feel like setting up, but I
Mm,
want to play. And those moments just have me torn. So that's why I haven't done a whole lot of the episode battle because I want to have a pretty good amount of episode battles to be able to be up on my channel to get my reactions and stuff like that. So that's why I haven't played a ton of it. I've spent a ton of time in practice mode. I pretty much go into battle training every single day to make sure that I'm refreshing up on those things. And man, I'm just I'm excited to have that first night where I run about 15 straight matches with somebody, and just train and just grind and all that greatness. So, but I appreciate you jumping on, man. We, um, Exflow and I are going to have a podcast, and we're going to be talking about more than just Sparking Zero stuff, but it is going to be centered around just kind of fighting game culture. Um, Within the next couple of months, I'm getting some better equipment so that we can kind of get our setup together, have some good audio, and we'll be having different types of discussions just like this. So if you enjoy that, make sure you subscribe to get updates on where that podcast is going to be up and going. Other than that, if you like the video, like it. If you think someone else might like it, share it. And if you want to see more, we really hope that you would subscribe, and we'll see y'all on the next one.
Peace.